Simplifying rational expressions. Let's simplify 1 over the quantity 2 plus x minus 1/3 all over x minus 1. So here we want to eliminate the fractions in the numerator, and we'll do that by multiplying by the least common denominator of these two fractions. So the least common denominator is going to be 3 times 2 plus x. So we're going to multiply both the top and the bottom by 3 times 2 plus x. And we can do that because it's basically like multiplying by 1. So now what we're going to do is distribute that quantity into both terms in the numerator. So here we have distributed 3 times the quantity 2 plus x to both terms. And in the denominator, we're multiplying all three of these factors. So what's going to happen is we're going to be able to simplify each of these terms. So we have a 2 plus x over a 2 plus x, so that simplifies to just 1, or those cancel. In the next term, 1/3 times 3, or 3 divided by 3, is also just 1, so those cancel. So what we have left in the first term is just a 3, and what we have left in the second term over here is we have still that subtraction, so we have minus, and then the quantity 2 plus x. So we have minus the quantity 2 plus x, and then all over on the bottom we have the factor x minus 1 times 3 times the quantity 2 plus x. Now from here we want to be careful. These quantities 2 plus x and 2 plus x do not cancel, because in the denominator it's a factor, but in the numerator it's a term. So what we want to do in the numerator is distribute the negative. So for this next line here, we're going to have 3 minus 2 minus x all over, I'm going to put the 3 first on the bottom, 3 times the quantity x minus 1 times the quantity 2 plus x. And in the numerator, I'm going to add like terms, or in this case subtract. 3 minus 2 is 1, so I'm going to have 1 minus x all over 3 times the quantity x minus 1 times the quantity 2 plus x. Now we can do further simplifying here. We have 1 minus x in the numerator, and then the factor x minus 1 in the denominator. So here these are going to simplify. Because 1 minus x is the same as negative the quantity x minus 1. So the x minus 1s are going to cancel. I'm going to be left with a negative 1 in the numerator for a final simplified answer of negative 1 over 3 times the quantity 2 plus x. Now we're going to simplify the same rational expression using a different method. So again, we have 1 over the quantity 2 plus x minus 1/3. So we have fractions that are being subtracted in the numerator, so all over x minus 1. This time, we're going to subtract the fractions in the numerator by creating a common denominator. So that common denominator is going to be 3 times the quantity 2 plus x. So the first fraction, 1 over 2 plus x, gets multiplied by a 3 on the top and on the bottom. And the second fraction, 1 over 3, gets multiplied by the quantity 2 plus x on the top and on the bottom. Now that they have the same denominator, we can combine them together. We can subtract across the numerator and create one fraction here. So we're going to have 3 minus the quantity 2 plus x all over 3 times the quantity 2 plus x all over x minus 1. So now what I'll do is I'll distribute the negative in the numerator here. So I have 3 minus 2 minus x over 3 times the quantity 2 plus x all over x minus 1. And I'm going to rewrite that for a moment as x minus 1 over 1. So now in the numerator, 3 minus 2, that's 1. So I have 1 minus x over the quantity 3 times 2 plus x. So that's this numerator fraction here. And then instead of dividing by x minus 1 over 1, we can multiply by the reciprocal. So we can multiply by 1 over x minus 1. When we get to this phase 1 minus x over x minus 1, those are going to simplify to be just a negative 1 on the top, which is going to leave me with my final answer. Of course, the same answer as the last problem. 3 times the quantity 2 plus x goes on the bottom, negative 1 goes on the top. So 2 different ways of simplifying this complex rational expression. And now let's simplify 1 all over the quantity x minus 3 minus 4 all over x squared minus 2x minus 3. So here we have 2 rational expressions that are subtracted. We want to combine them, if possible, by finding common denominators. Now here, x squared minus 2x minus 3 is going to factor. So it's going to factor to the quantity x minus 3 times the quantity x plus 1. So notice these 2 rational expressions have the x minus 3 in common in the denominator, but the fraction on the left is missing a denominator factor of x plus 1. So let's go ahead and create these 2 fractions to have the same denominator. So we're going to need to multiply the left fraction on the top and on the bottom by the quantity x plus 1. And now that they have the same denominator, we can subtract across the numerator. So we're going to have one fraction. We're going to have in the numerator x plus 1 minus 4 all over in the denominator the quantity x minus 3 times the quantity x plus 1. Now in the numerator we add like terms and have x minus 3 all over the quantity x minus 3 times the quantity x plus 1. And we can simplify x minus 3 over x minus 3 is just 1. So we have a final answer of 1 all over the quantity x plus 1.